Hey Dad,
Hey, Jamie.
how you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Good. Super excited to be here.
As am I. This has been a long time coming.
Oh my gosh, so long. I was just talking to somebody and they were like, "How's that thing going that you're doing with your dad?" I was like, "Well, it's still going a year later."
Well, for the audience's benefit, we started out looking at this as a podcast, but found that it wasn't as natural as what we needed, and that conversations are person to person. And so we decided to try this format and see how it goes.
Yeah. So here's what we're trying to do. Dad and I like to talk about politics. We do it all the time. We have since I was very young, and that's true for most of our family. Um, those talks are sometimes contentious, sometimes not. But the thing that's most interesting about them, I think, for me, is that they happen all the time. And more importantly than that, Dad and I really like each other. so,
That
so we
does
continue
help.
yes, we continue to have these conversations in which we don't agree and we still like each other. And we still have the conversations. And I think one of the things that I was noticing, anyways, that's kind of unique about that is I know so many people who either avoid political conversation or feel like it's like scary or terrible or mean, or like they feel like they can't talk to someone they disagree with. And so they avoid it, or the fight, they end up fighting. And so we were realizing that's not really how we have these conversations. And we wanted to share that because we think, especially at this time in the world, that is so important.
Well, and I think a part of it is even the simplest of events today people seem to be shying away from parts of it because of the contentiousness of discussions. And that might include your Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner or whatever it might be. And we come from a family that kind of welcomes, embraces the idea of having these kinds of conversations. But rarely do they break down to the point where we can't talk to each other, afterwards. They become heated without any question, but I'd say controlled. And part of what we've looked at here is coming up with a framework, a way of having conversations and thinking about it on the fly as you're having a conversation that can kind of prevent some of the pitfalls that people fall into when it comes to having those kind of meaningful conversations, and allows somebody, no matter what your level of expertise is, to engage with people in a conversation and not feel like I'm the odd one out or whatever the case might be, that I can't have this conversation because if I do, I don't have the defenses to protect myself or whatever it might be.
Exactly. Because we want everybody to be engaging in these conversations. We think it's super important for people to be talking with people they disagree with. We recognize that as both families and as a country, we need to be having conversations across the aisle and with people we don't agree with to move forward, that that's productive and important and healthy.
Amy, tell us a little bit about your background, and I'll share mine as well, just so people have some idea where we're coming from.
Yeah, I like that. And I also want to throw in here right before I say this, Dad and I are not going to edit these videos. So if you hear us ramble, that's just how we talk. I apologize up front. My background is mostly in educational technology, in and out of nonprofits and schools. I've done that for the last 15 years or so. I'm a mom, and I also love hyper local politics. I am a town meeting member and on my local PTO board. How about your
Well,
dad?
yeah, my credentials are I'm a grandparent to four grandkids and care a lot about what happens for in our nation's future and our state's future as well for them, to give them opportunities that have been afforded myself, my family, and all of us. My background is mostly state and federal government, as well as corporate, local, state, and federal government affairs, and some time on campaigns, statewide campaigns as well. But those are kind of stepping stones to getting into conversations with people that I care about and that I would like to engage with on a personal level as well as professional. But I mean, to be able to have conversations, which led us to the creation of what in our heads is this framework, an undivided framework, we call it, because it allows you to look at your conversation ahead of time, look at while you're having the conversation, even when you get done, to kind of critique yourself, so you can allow yourself to have meaningful conversations that are engaging without coming to uh, coming to problems that are insurmountable anyway.
Yes.
For some people.
Totally. I think that's exactly right. And so we're going to get into that in these upcoming unedited videos. If that's interesting to you, we would love for you to follow along and join us. So we don't really know what the format's going to be completely. We've been playing around with this for literally a year. And that's not even the planning stage. But we know a couple of things. We're going to start out by talking about this framework. We are not experts. We know there are tons of people, both at like governmental levels, at healthy relationship levels, going through and thinking about this from different lenses than we are. And really what we're trying to do is be really practical. This is just something we're doing. So we're not claiming to be experts. We're just excited to actually try things out. We are going to talk about a lot of stuff that's going on in the world. We are not always going to agree, but we're going to talk productively about that. And we hope that while we're doing that, you will also join in with us and have those conversations with people around you, have those conversations with us. We're excited to try it out, and we'll see kind of what the format evolves into.
Well, and we want to share with you what's worked for us, but keep in mind too that this is a work in progress, because we expect to learn from those of you who can chime in with us and let us know what's working for you and what doesn't work. Quite frankly, that's half of the equation. But I think the biggest part of it is to want to have a conversation that's meaningful, that you can share, and figure out why you're having that conversation, maybe in the first place too, because that helps you understand what you intend to get out of it. And that's, again, part of our framework that we'll be getting into in the coming episodes.
Exactly. So originally we were a House Undivided. That was taken already from Google. So we are now Our House Undivided at gmail.com. We hope you'll join in, and we expect to be posting some more of these videos in the near future.
Thanks, Jamie. Have a great day.
Love you.
Love you too.